I always say things and then I giggle because I giggle. I'm a giggle person. I'm a giggle fritz. Giggle fritz. Is that a thing? Can that be a thing? I don't know. It is a thing now. Let's make it be a thing. Okay. I'm done. The week is done. The week is over. Well, not technically. It's Friday. Friday. I'm glad that it's Friday. I'm ready for it to be Friday, which is good because it's Friday. So it's better than, you know, when Monday comes and you're like, I wish it was Friday. And it's not Friday. It's Monday. The week hasn't even started yet. And that's wrong. Doesn't work. Don't work like that. Anyways. But yeah. All right. So Friday is the end of my writing week because I only do an hour for the yes, I only do an hour for each of the work week days, and except on Wednesdays because other work. But anyway, so this is the end. This is the end of the road for this week. I just put in my hour for writing and it was good. It was a good hour. I liked it. I feel like today was one of the first days that I've been able to write with just kind of that playfulness that I always had when I was a kid and I used to write and be able to kind of just write whatever that pops into my brain and whatever I feel like, however I feel like the character is leading me or how this character would probably act in this situation and stuff like that. I think some of it has to do with I kind of in this origin story that I've started on a couple days ago that I did start on a couple days ago. I started with two different characters that are just more fun to write than who I started with, the characters that I started with at the beginning of writing this. And so I think, you know, you don't always have fun characters that you like to write. You don't always have to have characters that you like to write. Sometimes characters aren't likable, but they're still necessary, you know? And in that way, it's nice to have a balance between likable characters and, you know, characters that you don't necessarily like but are necessary. And so I kind of created this character that I really like and that I resonate with and that I feel his story very strongly, and I get a really clear mental image of who he is. And so once I had a really clear mental image of who he was, then his voice and his actions and his movements started coming together really easily and really completely inside of my head. And at that point in time, it's just imagining, allowing the character kind of move, and then you just basically writing out what you're seeing inside of your head, you know? Or at least that's how everybody writes differently, but that's kind of how I've always written when I'm kind of in that good creative mood and flow and stuff like that, is that basically I'll just have an image inside of my head and then I will just write whatever I see. And there's fluidity in that, and obviously it's, you know, my own writing and it's my own voice and it's my own personality put on the page, depending on what words I choose and how I describe things, and just kind of the narrator's voice is always going to be slightly more me if it's a narrator from a outside perspective. I can't think of the word right now. Just not a first-person narration. And so when you have first-person narration, then you do, you know, tend to, you kind of do need to still have that mindset of this is a character who's writing this, it's their perspective, it's their understanding, rather than this omnipotent, what am I thinking? Omnipotent, you know what I mean. the one who can see all and know all, right? That narrator, that dude, that person. And you know, if that's the case, then you do get a chance to maybe potentially put a little bit more of yourself into it, but you don't necessarily have to, I think, because you can kind of create a character out of the narration as well. It's just a thought. But anyways, so I got to do that a little bit more today, and that excited me. So I'm excited. I'm excited to start writing on Monday. That's a nice feeling. You know, that wasn't where I was at last Friday. Last Friday I finished off just like, why is everything hard? Why is writing so hard? And I was so scared and I was so anxious, and I hated the idea of what Monday was going to bring and what it's going to bring to the table. And I just think that, you know, I just worked myself into these ruts. They're just entirely, you know, my own doing. They're just entirely my own brain just being like, and we're just going to shut down now and you're not going to be able to do anything. And I'm just sitting there going, but I had stuff that I wanted to do. Okay, that's what we, okay. And it's sad that I allowed that, but at the same time, you know, trying to give myself grace to work through those moments. And also, you know, just try to remember that those exist, but that if I'm able to recognize that they exist and name them, you know, them being those thoughts, those really negative thoughts, or those really anxious-driven thoughts, or anxiety-driven thoughts, being able to name them and saying, okay, that's not real. I mean, the feelings are real, the anxiety is real, but it's my body, it's my brain telling me that, you know, I need to be anxious about something that I don't actually need to be anxious about. So as much as I am feeling those things, I have to realize and calm myself down and recognize it from a logical perspective or from an outsider's perspective, that that's not reality. That's not the current reality that I'm actually living, even though it feels like that. And so being able to recognize that and say, hey, keep on going anyways, is really hard. But at the same time, you know, if you're able to do that, you know, don't push yourself to, you know, don't get super angry with yourself if you're not able to do it, if you're not able to push past that. And, you know, you do allow the anxiety to just kind of be there. You know, that happens as well. And you have to give grace for yourself. I have to give grace to myself in those moments that I kind of let the anxiety win a little bit those days. But at the days that I don't, and I put my foot down and I say, no, I believe truth, and I'm going to act out on that, and I'm going to act out in faith that once I sit down, that some of that anxiety is going to go away, and that the words will come, and I just keep on reminding myself that, or I try to keep on reminding myself that if I sit down, the words are going to come, even if they're not great words, even if they're not the perfect words, some words are going to come. And I think that, you know, one of the things that I can get stuck on is thinking that as soon as I sit down, that I need to craft something perfect, and I need to craft something that flows perfectly and works well with the story, and fits well with the story and all of that. And the fact of the matter is that that's not really how a rough draft works, you know? You don't expect publication level writing as soon as you sit down and that's your first attempt, you know? If you expect that of yourself, then you're basically just setting yourself up for failure. And well, for me, it sets myself up for a crazy amount of anxiety because I know that that can't happen. You know, so I put all this extreme amount of pressure on myself to be able to do something that isn't actually physically possible for me to do. Not that, you know, you can't write and then be like, oh, that was good. Like, there's great moments like that as well, but those are few and far between sometimes. And I think that those moments are just as valuable as the moments of just like, I got words on the page. I don't know if they're good words, but they're words, you know? And so I think that those moments are just as precious as the moments that you're just like, nailed it. So being able to give yourself grace in those moments and those in-between moments, or, give yourself grace for both of those moments. And just kind of carrying on, I think, is really important. And that's what I'm attempting to do. And just appreciate the process, One of the things that I came across this morning, I guess no, it's afternoon now. But one of the things that I came across was that yesterday's writing, I didn't write with my character's voice. I very much wrote with my own voice, to some degree. And I think that right when I first started, when I sat down today and I was thinking about what I had written yesterday, and I wanted to rewrite it. I wanted to give it a chance to be more of his voice rather than my voice, with my biases, with my thoughts of these things that I want to put to the forefront, these ideas that I want to share with the rest of the world, and so I thought about it, and I was thinking about, trying out something new, like taking a portion of what I had written and then just trying out a different, event afterwards, and trying to create something slightly different than what I had yesterday. But in the end, I decided not to. Mostly because when I read it today, I liked it. And yesterday I didn't necessarily like it. But at the same time, I think it would have been just as good to try something new. Use the character, have the character be present, and have them try something new. Have, work something else into the plot. Have them do a different action or something like that, And I think that one of the things that I tend to do is think that as soon as the words are on the page, that's concrete, that's it, that's done, that I can't change it after that. Or maybe I just don't want to. Maybe I'm just lazy. I'm just like, I did it already. I already wrote it. What do you mean I have to write it again? And, because that's definitely my mindset anyways. It's like college all over again. I'm like, write it again? No. Don't make me do more work. And yeah, so I think that having that mindset doesn't necessarily help me. So I think it was kind of good that today I kind of approached the writing with the idea that if I decided that I wanted to try something new, if I wanted to backtrack a little bit and then go on a different path, that I could. That I didn't necessarily have to stay with what I had written yesterday, that I could try something new, try something different. In the end, I wanted to see where he was going to head with this, where this character was going to go into this direction. And it actually turned out pretty good, and I was actually pretty excited about it. So I'm glad that I did, but I think that I'm, proud of myself for today. Like me sitting down at the table, I came into this writing session recognizing that I could try to do something new and that I didn't necessarily have to go with what I had written yesterday. And that's something that I usually didn't think about, or that's something that in the past I usually didn't give myself that allowance. So I just kind of said, nope, it's done. It's over now. So I'm not going to write anything more. And so I think that, is more in alignment with what I've been hoping to achieve by doing this entire thing of writing an hour pretty much every day throughout the work week. Just the idea of staying playful, and the idea of just exploring, and the idea of trying things out and all that kind of stuff. And so that was a nice realization that this is kind of working and that this is kind of being good for me. I mean, I knew that I knew from the beginning that this was kind of good for me, but I think that the added attachment of doing these vlogs has also been really good, because you know, it's allowed me the chance to reflect on my writing process and reflect on what that session was really like, and to reflect on just what I was thinking about before I started writing, while I was starting writing, and just naming those fears and anxieties and all that kind of stuff. Because also when I'm naming it, I'm also able to kind of see the growth as well, and being able to reflect on whether this is working, whether this is not working, you know, and if it's not working, what needs to change. Always thinking about what can be, how I can make this better. Efficiency. But yeah, so this is the end of the week. I think it was a pretty productive week. I hope that these vlogs have been entertaining / enlightening / eye-opening / encouraging. I don't know what the heck they are, but I hope that they've been at least enjoyable, and at least have brought a smile to your face. I look forward to starting back up on Monday and then seeing what the next week brings. But yeah, so thanks, guys. Thanks for everything. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of my journey. I hope that you guys all have a great rest of your day and a great week. And yeah, stay playful.